Welcome. You want to know what is a VPN and how does it work? Then you found the right place, because I'm going to explain how to understand what a virtual private network is, and I'm going to try to explain it from several different directions so you kind of get the idea of what it is and what you can use it for. Everything important you have to know about a VPN. So let's start. The most important part for me personally is you have access to the global internet. So it's basically a global internet service provider. If you're watching this video, you probably have a local internet provider, or you're using a hotspot or a company Wi-Fi or a hotel Wi-Fi. But in many cases, you can only use the local websites. If you try to go to other country websites, other country TV stations, for example, they will tell you, sorry, you're in the wrong country. We cannot show you our content. In many cases, it's useful to be able to use a different country's internet. That's one of the main advantages. Another super big reason to use a virtual private network is encryption. You get security, privacy, and anonymity. Hackers have a harder time to hack you, and also no one can see what you're doing on the internet, except if you leave traces on your computer or device. Otherwise, no one can see, and I will talk about all the places where your browser history is saved and logged. If you're looking for a good VPN, I recommend you go below in the description of this video and click on Show More. Or if you're on a mobile device, there's an icon below on the right of the video, and then you can see the description. And here I have an example of a different video I made a long time ago. And I try to keep this list up to date, and I check those VPNs regularly. But I personally use ExpressVPN. And I'm also talking about the software. Yes, you can install it on any device you want to ask me about. Like if it's a tablet, if it's an Xbox game console, if it's whatever, yes, there is software from ExpressVPN and it works great in my experience. And then you can basically choose any location on the planet where you want to enter the internet. But how exactly this works, I will explain to you in a second. And here, there's a list of all the devices they have apps for. So for any phone, any console, smart TV, Apple TV, and so on. Even for your router, they have precise explanations and software you can use. And also they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Actually, many good VPN services offer this. So you can get a cheap 12-month package. And then if you don't like it within 30 days, you can say, no, sorry, like I don't need it after all. Let's get to the explanation. Private network is basically connecting two computers. Maybe you even done that before and you didn't know that it's a private network, but yeah. So let's assume you have a laptop and you connect it to your old-fashioned computer. And then through this computer, you use the LAN cable and enter the internet. So then you have a private network and you use this computer to enter the internet. But basically just connecting two computers, connecting your phone to your laptop, it's already private network because no one else can access this network, right? And you networked two devices. So a virtual network works over the internet. So basically, let's stay with the same example. You have your laptop. The laptop connects through the Wi-Fi to your router connects you to your internet service provider. The internet service provider connects you through the internet, and then you connect to a different computer, often called server. Actually, it's not exactly a VPN server because this is not private, but some cheap free VPNs, they would claim this is a VPN service, but I will talk about free VPNs later. So basically you connect with your one computer to another computer, like in this case it's then called a server, and then this one connects you to the internet. But since this is all open, many people can see what you're doing over your Wi-Fi, through your router, your internet service provider, on the internet, and so on. So this is definitely not private. So what do you need to make this a private virtual network? Well, you need super mega good encryption. And this is what good VPN providers provide you. They provide military-grade encryption between your laptop and their local servers. And then you can enter the internet through their servers. And this is exactly what you choose here. For example, if we go to all locations, the Americas, United States, then here we can see they have computers or servers in many locations in the US. And then you can say, okay, I want to log into San Francisco, or I want to enter the internet through San Francisco. And now I got the message VPN is on. So now I'm surfing through the US. And now, first of all my internet usage between my laptop and the server in San Francisco is completely encrypted. So my router cannot see what I'm doing, and routers save your browsing history. My internet service provider cannot see what I'm doing. And also on the internet, there are listening devices in the UK, for example. Everything that goes between the UK across the Atlantic goes through some UK agency, and then of course in the US it goes through some US agency, and then it goes to San Francisco, and up to there no one can see what I'm doing. Everything is encrypted on a military level, and then I'm entering the internet in San Francisco, and also no one can see what device I'm using, if I'm using a laptop, tablet or whatever. And also I can access all the websites which are only available in the US. For example, the US Netflix, Hulu, Pandora, HBO, American football, ESPN, and many other services which are only available in the US. I can access now, although I'm not in the US right now. I can tell you I'm not in the US. I made some other videos where I showed the IP locations and so on, but I don't want to bother you with this. The question is VPN legal? And I can tell you, yes, in most free countries, all big companies rely on private data networks, as you can imagine. But of course, in some countries, such as North Korea, Cuba, China, Russia, actually in those countries, you actually really should use a VPN, but they are discouraged or illegal. They can get you in trouble. Or in some cases, it depends on what you use it for. Companies are still allowed to use it in some of those countries because they just need it to secure their data. If you ever worked in a home office for a bigger company, you used a VPN because the company, of course, has to secure their data. And if you're working from a remote location, then if you want to access the company data, you need a virtual private network. So you need a secure connection to your company, and basically this is what a VPN is, as I explained before. And also one example here with BMW Group. You probably know BMW cars, right? And of course they have many locations all around the world, as you can see. Actually, the funny thing is the map is not very accurate. I mean, there are locations where they don't show anything. Anyway, but they have many locations, and of course they are one company and they have a data server in Germany probably. So all the people working for BMW in different countries probably use a VPN connection to Germany, and then actually they're using the German internet, because if they're going online or using the internet, they will see the German internet, or the location will be in Germany. So they would be able to watch German television even if they're somewhere in China or Britain. But they would have problems watching, for example, the BBC if they go over the company internet, because it's probably routed all through Germany, because BMW is a German company and the headquarters is in Germany. So probably the VPN they use, the virtual private network, all goes through Germany. So many big companies use a VPN. The question is, why should you use a virtual private network? You're not a big company. You don't have employees maybe all over the world. First of all, websites see a lot about you when you're just surfing the internet. They see your location. system language, screen size, time zone, and so on, and many other things which you might not want. Maybe you already made the experience of localized ads where they say like, hey, do this and this in your hometown. And you're wondering, how do they know that I'm in wherever you are? This is because websites can see quite a lot. Then there's also the issue of censorship. Here's a map I found on Wikipedia about censorship in 2018. And you see a lot of places have little or no censorship. Some have a little censorship, like the US. Then there are some places like Saudi Arabia and China, and actually all those countries which do not allow VPNs, they have the most censorship. And actually, I think Russia is moving up on the scale also. Geo-blocking is another reason. For example, using Netflix, maybe you already know that the media library is very different, and usually compared to the USA, all the others have much less content, but they also have different content. For example, if you want to watch The Office UK, of course you can only do it in the UK and not even in the US. Or, for example, the UK is well known for the Doctor Who science fiction TV show, and you cannot watch this in the US. You have to use the UK Netflix. And the good thing with Netflix is you can have any account from any country, and if you use the VPN to log into a specific country, for example the US or any other country, Canada, Mexico, the UK, then you can use the UK version of Netflix, and you don't even have to pay extra to use the UK version, or you don't have to sign up to the UK Netflix account. You can just use your international Netflix account. It's discouraged by Netflix, but it works, and I have other videos about this. The advantages of a VPN are, first of all, privacy and safety, although most people don't get it for this, but I think it's very useful, because you get a full encryption of your internet. And if you did not know, yes, your browser has the browser history, right? But also your router saves your internet activity. Your internet service provider can log your internet activity. If you use public Wi-Fi, they can see what you're doing. If you're using hotel Wi-Fi, they can see what you're doing. If you're using your company Wi-Fi, your company can see what you're doing on the internet, even if you use your private phone. Mobile cell towers, they log some activity, and if someone hacked those, they can see what you're doing on the internet. Then, well, hackers, they can access many places, and also governments can see what you're doing. And for example, in some places, online torrenting or free streaming sites are illegal, of course, and then you get legal letters if you visit those sites. You can avoid this by using a VPN. So all these places, they usually can see what you're doing if they want to, or they log the info, and then if someone wants to know, then they can check up on it. So you can avoid this by encrypting your internet with a VPN service. And then, of course, for most people, the main reason why they get a VPN is unblocking the internet, getting local internet. If you're a digital nomad or expat, or even just traveling on vacation, you get your country's local internet. You can circumvent geo-blocking and see TV channels, Netflix, HBO, Hulu, radio, music, and YouTube in any country, from any country. Many services are only available in the US, for example, but also if you want to watch French TV, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you cannot just watch the French TV because they will tell you, sorry, you're in the wrong country. I don't understand why. And with a VPN, you have the option to circumvent all this. So yeah, you can circumvent censorship. For example, in China, Google is blocked, YouTube is blocked, Facebook is blocked. Basically, every website I use every day is blocked. So without a VPN in China, you basically, well, you can just use the Chinese websites, but if you don't speak Chinese, then, well, it's not much use to you. Also, in some cases, internet service providers throttle your internet speed if they notice that you're watching streaming stuff or if you're torrenting or whatever. And a VPN helps because they don't know what you're doing. They don't see that you're on a streaming site, so they probably will not throttle your internet if they don't know exactly that you're doing something they don't want you to do. One thing I did not really check out yet is lower prices. If you're searching for flights, for example, depending on which country you search from or which location you search from, the prices can be very different. So if you're in a location where there are a lot of rich people, for example, then the prices might be higher. And if you're in a location where there are usually less rich people or poor people, then the prices might be lower. I did not really get into this, but I heard that this is also one reason people use VPNs, so they can get better prices on stuff or trips. One disadvantage, I'm not sure if it's a big disadvantage, it can of course slow down your internet, because first you're connecting to a different server location and then you enter the internet. Of course, depending on which server location you choose, it might slow down your internet. So if you're, for example, choosing a server location somewhere in Central Africa, of course the internet there is not so great and it takes a long time to go back and forth. But if you just want to use a VPN for encryption and you want to use your local internet, then you can also use your local server location. So if you're in the US and you just want to use the VPN to secure your internet, then you can of course just log into a US server location and then you will not notice any speed difference much. And one thing which really freaked me out the first time I used the VPN is a critical security alert from Google, because someone from another location tried to log into my account. Can you imagine this? So in this example, well, I was connected to France and then I tried to log into my Google account. Of course, if you're already logged in, then it's not such a big problem. But if you're logged out and then you want to log in, you get this critical security alert from Google that someone tried to log into your Google account from France. And then you just have to remember, yes, I connected my VPN to a French server. So Google just wants to make sure that why am I suddenly in a different country? Google just tries to make sure to keep your account secure. And you might notice this with other services where they will ask you, hey, someone from like a different country just try to access your account. And then you just have to remember, yes, you used the VPN to access the internet in France, for example. And yes, this was you, so you don't have to be scared. Like no one tried to hack your account. It was, you just have to remember, yes, you used the VPN, and yes, then you try to log in, and then they show you the time and date and location. So you could even go to Google and type in show my IP. Then you will see then it's the same IP address your VPN has. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is one advantage. You can change your IP address very fast. I have to warn you about free VPNs. Usually they're dangerous. They can have spyware, malware, usually lots of spam. If you don't believe me, please Google it, like free VPN dangers or problems, and you will find a lot of information from independent sources why free VPNs are not a good idea. I mean, you would not trust to get a free security service for your house or apartment from someone you don't know, but it's free, right? Would you trust this service? No. It's better to get a good service provider with a good track record. Providing servers and internet access locations in many countries just costs money. And also most free VPNs, they don't work with Hulu, Netflix, HBO and so on. So they're not that useful, and they also don't encrypt properly and so on. So they're not safe. So basically there's no real advantage. I mean, yes, you might be able to circumvent some censorship, but mostly they are not recommended. What can you expect from a good VPN provider? Well, super fast connections, lots of countries to choose from. So ExpressVPN has over 90 countries and 160 server locations. So I wanted to show you. So some people have the problem that maybe one server location has a problem. For example, here in Germany, there are 4 server locations. In the UK, there are 5 different server locations. So guess what? If you try to watch the BBC and you try the Docklands and it doesn't work, guess what? Just connect to East London or Kent or Wembley and try another one. And look, there are so many different server locations in the US. So don't just click on United States, because then, well, it's ExpressVPN just decides which one you get. But usually most VPN providers have several server locations in bigger countries like the United States. And if one does not work, just try another one. You know, maybe there's a problem with the server at the moment, and just try another one. And ExpressVPN is working on this constantly to make it work. And if it's not working, go to the support, talk to them. Actually, any VPN service, not just ExpressVPN. So just go to the support, tell them, hey, I have problems watching Netflix, I have problems watching HBO, I have problems watching Hulu with your service. And they know, like, most people use this VPNs to access geo-blocked content. So they have an incentive to help you and fix this problem. So, and they have a 24-hour support. So, you know, make use of it. If you pay for it, you have the right to make use of it. So easy to use apps. I showed you ExpressVPN has apps and software for all systems: Windows, Android, Mac, iOS, Linux, routers, Chromebook. I don't even know what Chromebook is. Kindle Fire, Nook, and so on. Fire TV. You can also install it just on your browser, on Chrome or Firefox. You can install it on your consoles, on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, all game and more, and so on. And on your smart TV, and you can manually set it up on Chromecast, Roku, and Nvidia Shield. The good thing is also they don't have activity logs, and they don't have to provide any information to any authorities, because they are situated in countries where they don't have to provide any information to other governments. They have highest security encryption, unlimited bandwidth, and you can use several connections at once, by the way. With ExpressVPN, you can use it with 5 or 6 connections at the same time. In theory, you could even share your account with someone else. So, as I mentioned before, below in the description of this video, you find a list with recommended VPN providers. And usually they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can check it out. My favorite, as you saw, I'm using myself, is ExpressVPN. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Now I hope you know what a VPN is and how it works and why you should use one.